All right, so this is the Freedom Land Project in Central West Florida. My name is Cory Evangelot, and this is recorded in order to share with others. This is for the community and the world because this is a growing movement that's happening rapidly. I'm here with my friend David Rodriguez from California, actually, who will be embarking in similar adventures. And I want to thank him for setting up this Zoom link for me. And we will be taking notes as well. I got my notepad here. So if you guys have anything to say, feel free to let me know. There's also the chat, of course, where you can participate. But anybody who's listening to this recording after, please let me know your thoughts. I'm going to try to keep this pretty concise. Okay. So a lot of the questions and comments can be more toward the end. And so I'm just going to start off with a big bang saying, here's the 60-second pitch that I developed based on what this whole presentation is about. Okay, so this is what we had the intent with doing. Now, if you know, I've said to some people, we found some land in this area. It's beautiful land. I will go over that. We'll go over all the different aspects of this. But this is what our intent was going in, okay? We were looking to obtain about 5 to 10 acres around the Midwest coast, Florida. Okay, so this is around Tampa area. We plan to design and install a self-sustainable local food forest. This system promotes the most amount of food in the least amount of land with the lowest effort and zero waste for higher quality and lower cost food. That's how I summarize the concept of a food forest. Okay. We want to provide amenities for tourism. Some people call it agritourism. There's actually a word for that in Pasco County. Education, bartering. We actually have bartering hubs all across the state with people who are looking for spots where they can do it. And we have these decentralized through Telegram as well. And we have social events that we can do, health and exercise practices. Tony will get into this a lot too. He has a gym that will partner with us and even provide staff potentially. So content creation, as you guys know, I'm a content creator. I can journal every step of the way. Off-grid living, this has a lot of potential too. We can talk about and doing retreats. There's even land that we are connected with that we could do retreats with and we can partner with. Okay, so there's a lot of potential here. Doing partnerships with local businesses, farmers markets, and nurseries. We'll also work with Food Forest Abundance, which is Jim Gale's project in Gult's Landing, Florida, about 50 acres. And they are a demonstration for success, I would consider, in this model. So this is not just a theory. This has actually been implemented. And they have done a lot of this food forest implementation in many countries and for different projects and being featured on many prominent networks. So we want to grasp an opportunity in the growing market trend toward permaculture. We live in a world of uncertainty with problems facing our economy and food supply. Some of you guys know deeply a lot of the problems that are happening in today's world. So our project is kind of a lifeline. It's to put an emphasis on serving the community by promoting freedom and natural living. To me, these are like the two main principles, freedom and nature, and to additionally inspire the younger generation and connect the like-minded. So this will be a demonstration site, not just for the community, but for the world. We have to think as in terms as that
near
because
Tampa,
really
Florida.
creating this type of project would not be done anywhere else. Like in this area. I don't know of anybody who's trying to do this in this area. What I saw, what Jim has when I went there in person, it was an experience that I was like, wow, we need to bring this here. And he's even willing to help us by providing the resources. We have all the people, all the resources to make this happen. So we just have to be able to bring it together. So we'll be sharing all that. My intentions is that my vision is also yours. Okay. So everybody, I'm open to what you have to say. Anybody who's listening to this, I'm going to try to be as transparent, honest, and just saying it like it is. We have all our own tool sets, so let's work together. I know where I excel. I know where I don't excel. I did help out on a farm a little bit in Pennsylvania. And I have a food forest in our backyard as well, and I'm working on stuff. A lot of people have been growing food that are part of this project, but this, we want to dedicate land so we can show the world, so we can feed the community, so we can do a bunch of things. We want to stick to our principles. Very important for this, right? Everything should be aligned to what we believe, what we stand for, and no pressure regarding a lot of this because money might come into the picture as usual for any project. So no pressure. Everybody's able to speak their mind on this stuff, and possibilities are endless. From one project, we can help create others. Like some of the people who are from other countries or other states, we can bring that to them. Tony actually and I were talking about how we want to make this a blueprint for other places to do this, and it will create a ripple effect. And you already see that with food forest abundance, which is why I'm introducing this project. So, for those of you who don't know who I am, this is just a quick portfolio about me. 7 times self-published author, certified integrative nutrition health coach, journalist and main editor of the Liberator 2 News, specializing on nature-based philosophy, psychology, morality, particularly revising the 19th century abolitionist works. In particular, they created towns for the Underground Railroad, and I see what we're doing as kind of parallel to that. We see the system as failing. There's a lot of problems in the world, so we're creating the solution. We're showing by example. I'm also an organizer. I do events monthly in Tarpon Springs, sometimes more than monthly. And I'm a featured content creator of the One Great Work Network, which is hosted by Mark Passio. And I was the host of the End of Slavery Summit in 2022. We're going to be doing more of them that featured over 50 different speakers and hundreds of resources. So you can see the community is already being built around a lot of these ideas. There's a great demand for them. And so if you want to read that slide, you can go into detail with all that. I don't talk too much about myself, but I figured to give an introduction. So I will provide updates, like I said, every step of the way. And I figured I'd create a site page for that, the liberator.us/project. You can see I have a playlist here going over, hey, this is chapter 1. We're looking for land. This is what we can do. And as we move forward, as I make more connections, more is found out. We're going to make sure that we stay on top of our game and that we make sure we're organized and we get this done. So, helping our vision, food forest abundance. I mentioned that they have been doing this in different countries, doing a lot of great things. Well, here's some of the networks they were involved with. They have 650 plus food forest and development, 50 states and 50 plus countries served, 140 plus installation teams, projects for schools, orphanages, residences, prisons, resorts, farms, all of it, you name it. And it's very integrative, right? Permaculture is working with the natural environment. And here's an event that happened at Galt's Landing, which is one of their main locations in Central Florida. And you can see there were a lot of doctors, professional athletes who spoke, and I was there as well. I spoke with some of the people who are actually going to help with this project too, and they're there for us. These people are very passionate. They have great energy. They care about what's going on, and so there's some videos and footage. You know, there's they have also been filming for a TV show recently, so they're just getting bigger and bigger. It's going to reach millions of people. This is definitely a growing trend in the market. So this is why getting onto this opportunity is perhaps very important. Our future is uncertain. Our health, our supply chains, our earth, our freedom, our environment. I mean, you name it. Some people might even say it's pretty much everything, right? What is certain? I mean, you look at the market and people think it's going to crash. I mean, what's going to happen? So we need to be able to be prepared for what's to come. And that is something I definitely want to emphasize here because our project is to help us prepare, but also to do more than that, to prevent possible problems in the future. Because if you have a regenerative, self-sustaining food forest, I mean, you can have a regenerative, self-sustaining revenue for model, like model for revenue, and a model also for health and feeding people and keeping those supply chains going. Showing freedom, how people can grow food, especially through the nursery, giving plants to others and showing them how to propagate such things like that. This is a solution growing in your community. And, one of the key phrases that Food Forest Abundance says, they say if we have replacing our lawns with food forest, if we create permaculture everywhere, there will be freedom. I totally agree with that statement. What is a food forest? It's an edible landscape, a living grocery store, low maintenance ecosystem. There's no chemicals, tilling, or replanting each year. And if Cameron's on the call, he can speak a little bit more as to this because he is a designer of these food forests. We have other people who can speak on this. Tony, for instance, I want you guys to meet. He's got great ideas for this that involve much more than a food forest that can develop good amount of revenue in a short amount of time. And so Why a food forest though? What made it important? Why did I want to talk about this? It's because it means permanent agriculture. That's where the word permaculture comes in. It's scalable to any size, so people can even do it in their backyard or in front of their house. It's adaptable to any climate. Plants tend to like each other, and especially if you do it in certain layers, it can create multiple harvests annually. It's low risk, abundant yield, and that's why food forest abundance, they call themselves abundance. All right, so I'm going to show a video from Jim Gale where he kind of talks about this because I figured I would introduce you guys. If you guys don't know who he is, he allows anybody to visit. If anybody's going down to Florida, and maybe some of you guys have visited his land, but he is, like I said, an example of what we're trying to bring here. So here we go.
Hello, my friends. I am so excited to share that our Freedom Farm Academy business model, the proof of concept that will help inspire and empower food forests everywhere, has now been proven. All of our Airbnbs are full. Our plant nursery is absolutely rocking. Cameron, Riley, Marcos, and the crew of incredible installers is fully booked. They've actually booked $250,000 worth of business in 90 days. Graham, thanks to people visiting here, has booked probably, well, we're expecting to have several $1,000,000 worth of installs in large projects booked by the end of this month. And one of them has already been approved, and that's a monster. So, my friends, it's time. Create yourself a food forest. The bigger the better. Get together with your friends, your family, your community. Build yourself a living food production system. This is the ultimate stack of functions. And then create a design and install team around it. We already have the design team, and we'll help you build the install team. Our designers, the process that Lindsay and Annette and the whole team have created, I believe it's the best permaculture design process for scale in the world today. So if you want to be in the business of designing and installing life into our planet the way it's meant to be, then get a hold of us. Share this with everybody you know. Anybody who has wealth of any kind, whether that be human energy or fiat. Let's compost the fiat. Let's turn the fiat into life. And it is an incredible business model as well.
So there you have it. I figured that would be a good video to show. I know it's vertical. My friend Mike would get mad at me. He's like, make sure you don't film in vertical. Tony and I made that mistake. We both filmed the land we found in vertical. But we can always see it in person, and that's always the best feel for it anyways. Because when I was there in person, it's kind of hard to describe it to you guys, right? It's another to experience it, to be there to see what it's like. Here is video 2. This one is similar to that.
To all of the wonderful people in China and throughout the world who are committed to healing the people and healing the planet. My name is Jim Gale. I am here in Central Florida, where we are demonstrating the solutions to all of the world's biggest problems. And it's very simple. When we take the poisons out of our landscapes and we grow food instead of lawns, we reverse deforestation and mass extinction. We reverse cancer and diabetes and heart disease trends. We end hunger, we end tyranny, simply by doing what's best for ourselves and for Mother Nature. All of this is food. This is a perennial edible landscape. And 20 months ago, there was nothing here. This was a plot of sand. There was no life here. Now we have over 230 different kinds of food growing on a 1-acre parcel. And we have butterflies and bees and birds and all sorts of life loves to live here. My friends, when we achieve mass adoption of taking the poisons out of our landscapes and growing food instead of lawns, we create peace on earth. And this is less maintenance than a lawn. A lawn would have to have been mowed almost every week. We have done virtually no maintenance here in the last 18 to 20 months. And now it is a source of life for all. You know, people say that money doesn't grow on trees. Well, wealth grows on trees, my friends. If you'd like to come visit us, you're invited. Galt's Landing in Central Florida.
So there you have it. And let me remind you, he just had like over 200 different plants in 1 acre, right? So that's a lot you can do. And these are the same people who will be helping us design our plot, what we want around our vision. Okay. And so just wanted to let you guys know. All right. We have the resources, and this I would consider to be quite credible resource. They're doing amazing things every single day, making tons of progress, even 3D printed buildings. I'm in connecting with the people who helped build their 3D printed steel buildings. Okay, so we can use that as well as a resource. I'll go over it.
To all of the
All right, so let's move on here. All right, you can see here's like a before and after picture, although now it's like much more than this. This is an old photo. And this is where I want Cameron to talk, but since he's not here, maybe we can come back to it and he'll talk more about all the design aspects. We still have other aspects to talk about when it comes to design from Tony, so we'll probably go to that soon. But here's an example design blueprint. Okay, so as you can see, it can be pretty complicated. This is a 4-acre property, and they really evaluate everything. They look at the sun, they look at like its movement and where it's positioned, and then like the land, the highest and lowest point, and all that jazz, right? And then they develop this blueprint. So that's one example. This is example two. I think this one was more recent in a different property. And here are just different pictures of different food forests. Okay, that they did installs for people at their house. Cameron sent these to me, different pictures that he took along the way. Okay, and yeah, there you have it. So our project, it's a one-stop shop. We want to equip, educate, and empower, and create essentially a community of regenerative food, water, and energy, because this will foster in a community of people. Okay, this is not like, okay, you get to live here. There will be Airbnbs that are off grid, as I'll talk about, but it is a place where people can come together and be a demonstration spot. So that way people can eventually create their own communities and we can do all that other crazy stuff that we want to do, like, I don't know, build hospitals or whatever else people like really want. All that, I'm actually connected with people who have $11 million projects, 1,000-acre properties in other counties in Florida. And these are just some of the people who are also doing projects like this. I mean, that's a way bigger operation, $11 million. I mean, 1,000 acres, right? But these are just some of the people that, want to do this type of stuff, and they have the resources and they're doing it right now as I speak. So, like I said, nothing really around this Tampa area right now, and it'd be great to get this going, especially since we have all the resources. Here's our core principles: freedom in action and nature. This is at least the way I look at it. So, self ownership, voluntarism, simple deals, try to keep things simple between people, and what I call individualist spirituality. So, whether you're a Christian or I talk about the ancient Chinese philosophy of Taoism. I know people who talk about Buddhism. Doesn't matter. If you're just a spiritual person, you look into occultism, whatever it is, um, we welcome you if you want to express your individual freedom, right? This is a place where people can practice perhaps some of their health practices and share knowledge with other individuals. Education is one of the primary things that I want to emphasize for this location. And so we're open to anything that is along the lines of helping individuals think for themselves, not telling people what to think. And self-reliance, regenerative, integrative, feng shui, octagonal. I want to make sure things work together. Everything is integrative and harmonious. So these are the two main principles I just see in action: freedom and nature. You can let me know if if I'm missing anything here, but I think this pretty much covers a lot of our ideals. Now, this I'm going to be sharing screenshots with you guys from my business plan. So I had a business plan that I would go around and I would show other people. And I have this in person, and I took some screenshots from that business plan. The part that's on green, okay, the part that's in green text is not necessarily sure of. Okay, so that's the only part of this one slide. Okay, because they told me that maybe they would get involved. They're a local farm in the area, but they may not. So that's the only thing that's like up in the air. But everything else stands true. So Casanova Design Group, they help us with the 3D printed houses and land inspection. We have labor and funding through our network that we've gathered over the past couple months, and people who want to get involved in Tarpon Springs and around the area. It's amazing using a food forest, you get like yields within the first 1 or 2 years. Some people think it takes longer than that to grow food, but because you're working harmoniously within the system, food grows much faster. And again, Jim Gale's Galt's Landing is a good example of that. We might want to have grazing cattle. I think when I say might, I mean I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the community want to have chickens and goats and stuff like that. So besides that, we can do perhaps growing tea. I thought that would be a unique thing, and also flowers. I think that would bring in a lot of people from my generation and in general add to the aesthetic appeal. So that's one of the personal touches I would like to add is perhaps a tea plant, which could be grown here and a lot of places in the world actually, and it has a lot of medicinal benefits. And America does not really utilize those benefits as much as the Eastern countries. So there's a lot that could be done with the camellia plant. Several off-grid Airbnb units that could be created. Okay, so you can see these are kind of like objectives. Freedom, health, and networking educational events each and every month. The minute we start getting this land and getting things going, we just want to start going. Let's do events. Let's start recording. Let's do it. Record videos and social media presence for international audiences. So those of you who are not from Florida, and maybe your loved ones or you can visit, and do some talks or come on down, stay in the Airbnbs, all that. Every month in this location, we want to do these types of get-togethers to keep the community very active. And, there's thousands of individuals all across the world, all doing amazing things. I've had people contact me from South America who are like, wow, we're building these Tesla batteries for free energy and they want to give it. It's like amazing what people are doing around the world. And not all products and services listed below will be provided within the first 1 or 2 years. And that's because we have a lot of different ideas. And so let's go into a lot of that after the competitive analysis, because you might be curious, well, what are our competitors? What are people doing around this area? Like who are we going against? And really, they're not competitors, right? I look at this as like everybody's in this for the same goal. If they're growing food, if they're doing anything that helps people's freedoms, but generally for a business plan, if you look up the structure, you have to include a competitive analysis. So I just looked up, oh, I found CP Eco Village. Okay, it's a community garden, but there isn't really any big events. They're not really bringing together the community, and they're not talking about freedom. You'll see this as a common theme. Who's talking about freedom in the growing food community, right? And showing others like this is how we get out of the system and get prepared for what's coming. The Lindward Community Garden. So again, their strength is community garden, but their weakness is the lack of associated projects and events, no Airbnbs, and it's not freedom specific. There's a lot of local nurseries. They have a lot of plants, but they don't have any really associated projects and events. They're not bringing in the youth. They're not freedom or education specific. Um, and then there's Food Forest Abundance at Galt's, of course, and that's our main inspiration for the project. Then we have Starkey Market. Some of you guys might be familiar with them. They have a variety of products and events. I love their market, but again, not really freedom specific. And I think they lack some of the aspects that I want to bring to the table to bring in some people from this generation and bring the knowledge that they weren't taught in school to them. Cahaba Farms, Same thing there. And then several tea houses and coffee shops, right? Which I want to perhaps integrate a tea house onto this premises, a place where people can have a social atmosphere without alcohol, but also that will inspire them. That's integrative. Like, hey, that plant that you are drinking from is also like grown right here. And you get to experience this scenery. There's books written about this since ancient times, talking about tea ceremonies. We kind of lost touch with a lot of the culture of ancient times, and where it brought us to now, where people were very close and they did a lot of these different things. So um, I will touch on some of these things as we move on. When it comes to revenue and investor return, okay, this has to do with the products and services, what we're providing for the community. Because in order to receive, we need to first give. And so here are just many of the different assets and different return sources of revenue for individuals that seek to get involved with this project. Off-grid Airbnbs, events that we'll do, the tea house or other methods of retail sales, Tai Chi classes or exercise. Tony will get into that too, I'm sure, because he, like I said, has a gym that's going to be helping us with this. Health coaching. Health coaches are all around the nation, a big trend as well happening in the world, and they don't always have physical locations to practice on. I've even met health coaches in Tarpon Springs who want to get involved with this. Um, Quick, high yields because of the food forest model. The nursery, which allows us to take the grown food and allow it to be transported to other places and other people to propagate the plants. Okay. And farmers markets, that's definitely huge potential. Jessica from Moonberry Mercantile, who will be partnering with us in this and helping us with the tea house, wants to do this as well. Land ownership is already just a huge asset and return on investment in general because all of those numbers are just going up and up and up, especially in this area as it's booming. And as we build on the land, the value of that land just keeps going up and up and up. So that's a big one. And then, of course, preparedness. I consider that to be a return on investment within itself. Okay. Because when everything goes down, this is going to be our lifeline. So we have appreciating assets, diverse revenue, and really personal fulfillment, which like I said, it's one to describe, another to feel it and see it in motion and as it's going. So more on products and services. This is just a little bit more detail about this. You know, we can have a flowery food forest to provide the aesthetic atmosphere, local food, environmental benefits. We can even do produce gift baskets for pickup or for delivery. The off-grid Airbnbs with additionally possible RV storage. Tony and I were talking about perhaps doing storage. Some of the investors or people who want to get involved with this, we're thinking about maybe doing storage, another hot market. Okay, some of these are very hot market, like food forest, the mushroom farm idea we have. These are hot markets, and that's why we think they're going to work really well. And we've seen them work really well. Pavilions, I want them to be octagonal because I think it works with the environment. That's just my personal little touch of aesthetic. The tea house, it could even be a yurt. It doesn't have to be a permanent structure. A yurt is actually like a more of like a tent in a sense, and that will provide more of that social atmosphere. A Liberty Library, you know, within the tea house, where people can learn about different things and they'll just be exposed to different information. I want it to be very core, like I said, for the education, beauty care, even from a lot of the plants that have been grown. And not a lot of people consider this, but when you grow plants, they're not always edible, but they can be used for other things. And so that's something I wanted to just mention because a lot of people in my generation are into that type of thing. Events, variety of events, of course, banquets, music concerts, you know, doing the exercise, doing even sports. I'd say in the beginning stages, especially when we don't have many plants on the land, we can do sports. And we can do a lot of networking with people. This is a location now that we can say, hey, this is where you can meet people. This is where you can find freedom people. You don't have to go to this like one meeting that's hosted inside this other building. No, here is a dedicated spot for freedom, and it'll be a main headquarters for the Liberator 2 News, which I run, which has a book drop. Okay, so people can put their books in there and provide resources, and local writers can get involved. So that will open up a whole nother community. And then the plant nursery, which is provided by the Abundance and Propagation, and that will help to create other projects and other people doing this in their area as well. So that contributes to the ripple effect. So now I want Tony to speak. Tony, I want you to talk about all the different ideas, everything you think about what's happening so far, because this is a discussion, guys. I want to get your thoughts. Tony has amazing ideas for revenue and bringing together a lot of what's going on. So yeah, Tony, if you want to take the floor, now's your time. I also got your videos here.
Sure, appreciate it. My name's Tony Cassesti. I'm the owner, co-owner with my wife of Really Good Farms. We provide organically grown microgreens and are beginning to move into edible flowers, various forms of mushrooms, and other products as well. We're partnered currently with a gym out of Newport Richey called Ethereal, and Ethereal would be one of our associates that would actually help run my wellness community, basically. This is a farming gym community where you have people who are both working as farmers and working in another aspect of the farm, in some cases teaching yoga, teaching jujitsu, teaching how to raise animals, slaughter, can preserve food, all these things that we're missing out on. And it's just a really good journey. We found that there is a reliable way to grow mushrooms at volume with a vendor that I've got contact with. And with our current project, we're looking to produce about 11 to 13,000 pounds of mushrooms a month. Long story short with that, that produces food reliably in any area within about 3 to 4 weeks of 11 to 13,000 pounds. So in cases of emergency, this could be moved over to help for food shortages, or as we're using it currently as a business model and main revenue model for the entire farm. What this is going to do is this is going to allow me to pay our employees about $35,000 a year for 3 days worth of work. That comes out to about $28 an hour for about 24 hours worth of work. Once the revenue model proves out, I'll be able to bump them up to about 50K per 3 days a week. Still, again, 24 hours worth of work. I believe that people should be paid what they're worth, as well as have the ability to live life and grow as human beings. I think no better way than people who are both growing and taking care of food and animals and taking care of their bodies as part of their job is a great way to take care of the whole body. And that's the reason why we started pushing for this direction. I came across and was approached by several people on several occasions, but I think that Cory here has provided probably some of the best insight to a really good group of people that I've seen here that are doing some really good things. And I think we would blend really well with that. What we have here in this picture here is a couple of videos of our mushroom container units. Now, this is going to have a lead time when we will put in the order of about 60 days to get operational. And then with 120 days-ish fully built out to be able to churn out the quantity that we're talking about there. But if you want to go ahead on that first video right there in the middle, that one right there, let's see. That is the short one. So that is the laboratory slash inoculation chamber right there. So all self-contained. They're actually solar powered as well. So all we need to do is maintain water in the IBC totes to maintain the humidity. They run off of solar power and they can literally drop off in the middle of nowhere and begin generating food off the grid. So we think this is a great way that we could also be able to give back to the community by offering fresh, locally grown mushrooms as well. Variations would include lion's mane, reishi, king's trumpet, oyster, and several other varieties. That right there is a huge boost. But then we'll also have the ability to educate the public on how to begin growing their own mushrooms at home, because then we can then begin creating grow bags for them to take home and practice growing so that they can learn how they can provide food for themselves as well.
You muted yourself. Oh, there you go.
I did. Sorry about that. I
Okay.
gotta put myself on do not disturb.
Yeah. So I showed the video. This is like him walking through the unit here. And then he has a second video too that you sent me, Tony, as well. Yeah, and guys, I could always share with you guys these videos separately too, in case you don't see it too well. So these are ideas, again, replicable to be brought into different areas, right, Tony?
Correct. And the best part about this is we can also work with any community to start this off because it generates immediate revenue through the mushrooms themselves, which then allows other forms of events to go on. We'd like to begin actually holding markets on a regular basis on property, bring the community together. I mean, that's the whole point of a farm and what they used to be back in the day was a gathering place for the community, and we've really lost touch with that, I believe.
Absolutely. And then you have the second video here, and this is looking at the solar unit.
Yep, that's part of the solar panels and whatnot. That's all completely automated. So that's one of our nurseries right there, and that's what would be each one of those chambers would turn out hundreds and hundreds of pounds, depending on what we are currently growing. Some variations take a little longer than others, but we've averaged out to be just off of fresh mushroom production alone, revenue after the cost of goods to be around 1.25 million a year off of our 8 unit build out there. And then if we were to pursue a supplement route, which I've already got contacts for putting together labeling and all the necessary things to have supplements created out of them in place, that if we only did supplements comes out to around 9 million annual revenue.
So there you have it,
So,
guys.
so it's there. I mean, and then that's what's actually allowing us to pay people as much as they are. Starting off with the full-time employees as well, they'd be started off for only 4 days a week. I'm not going to work anybody 5 days a week. But 4 days a week at 50,000. Once the revenue model proves out again, about 75 to 80K for still 4 days worth of work. I think that would give like two part-timer people earning 50K the ability to raise a child and still grow and develop as people and have free time to actually live right now. And just it's something we're missing, and I'm trying to really make a change in the trajectory of how people live on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, beautiful. Awesome. Yeah, very glad to have met you, Tony. And definitely he's a core team member. As you can see, his ideas are awesome and how he's implemented them already. Really great stuff. So do you want to share a little bit about the ethereal gym here as well?
Sure. So I'm a member of a gym. I practice jujitsu. I'm a registered yoga teacher. I've found a lot of peace and comfort in working on myself, and I believe a lot of people should probably start. We've gotten away from taking care of our bodies. So I have a connection with the owner to Ethereal, Jay Bahari. He's agreed to work with me and basically provide people who can work with us. He provides classes. This gym is really, really awesome. If you've ever been into Newport Richey, it's off Little Road by the Sheriff Center. We sponsor police officers and other public defenders for free stuff there, kids classes, and all sorts of really great stuff. But his gym has been in existence for about 2 years now, coming up on a third year. So we're looking to find a new spot for him to start out, and it feels like it's the universe coming together, saying, it's about time you pull that trigger. We've got probably about a dozen different people we could use as employees right now. And he would be one of the full-time employees. I also have my wife, who is the operational backbone of the farm, who would be there. And I've got another current Disney employee who's been there about 25 years, but she'd be the other office manager. And that's about the team I need to be able to run the entire operation.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, for any of you guys who are out of the state, who are doing project like this, I mean, just the amazing people you can meet. Like I was very grateful to meet Tony, and just showing you like this is what's out there, right? And we want to make it easier for you to do it where you are as well. But yeah, this is the model we have here around the Tampa area, and we're going to show you more about this as we go on.
And the way I see it is we should make enough revenue off of this that we should have funds set aside to begin then affording other members the ability to open up their own and working with
Right.
programs to continue expanding this. I mean, this is literally something that you could drop in any small city. They could begin producing mushrooms for their local grocery store and be fine, taking care of an entire community, just growing mushrooms in a forest farm and a place for people to come together and be people again. I think it's a wonderful idea. I really appreciate you putting all this together, Cory.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you too. I talked to a friend last night actually. He said, yeah, the mushroom business does really well. He has a friend that does it as well in New York. But here, I wanted to talk a little bit about land value. So we're kind of covering all the different aspects briefly. You can see everything is just going up, especially in Tampa. I mean, 75% above national average, and the appreciating is just rapid. The population growth, 9 times its population since 1946, fastest growing state for first time since 1957. That was an article from not even a year ago. And this area is special because it's one of the only areas in Florida that's like said to be protected by hurricanes, like against hurricanes because of ancient Indians and their temple mounds and their blessings. Some of you guys might know about that, but like this article says, for over 100 years, there hasn't really been any hurricane that has hit this area. So that's just another thing to just kind of add to that. Because a lot of people told me, oh, you got to get land up north. It's cheaper. And, there's a lot of people who are offering to do stuff up there, but I want to provide for this community here. You know what I mean? There's so much potential for this community. And because no one else is doing it here, this gives us a great advantage. And like I said, developers are taking over. I'll be talking a little bit about that. But land is an asset. As we build on it, more assets then get created and it becomes even more secure. And we would be unique to Tampa. We can say, hey, you're like 15 minutes, not even to the beach. You're 15 minutes to Tampa Airport, to Clearwater, to one of the greatest beaches on earth. And this area is historically protected against hurricanes. Yep, so I said that. And I want to emphasize to those of you who are like, well, what about money? And what about this monetary system that we'll be using? This is an example of true capitalism. Capitalism in the sense of it's undisturbed by the government. This is people trading with one another. One person for the fruits of their labor to another person. Here's some quotes from the great Murray Rothbard. He says, free market capitalism is a network of free and voluntary exchanges in which producers work, produce, and exchange their products for the products of others through prices voluntarily arrived at. And then, since production must always precede predation, the free market is anterior to the state. The state has never been created by a social contract. It has always been born in conquest and exploitation. So we are quite literally, by showing this demonstration, going against the systems that be and showing the better systems that be. The systems that are meant to be. That is people trading voluntarily out of their heart. This is the future, guys. This is where we see it heading. This is why there's the concept of agorism and voluntarism. The concept of agorism is this revolutionary philosophy that is based on counter economics. That is people trading without these third parties interfering. Okay, and here's a quote from Albert Camus. He says, the only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. And in Taoist philosophy, this is the same thing. It's like if you are your authentic self, you're not trying to be the rebel. You naturally are the rebel because you are authentic. You're simply yourself. So this concept of composting the fiat, composting this, bad money, this dirt money, is something that I want to make clear. And Jim Gale did a video about this and this concept, which I thought was great. So I wanted to play this real quick.
My friends, fiat is the name of a currency that is only backed by confidence. It's not backed by any physical assets. The United States dollar is a fiat currency. And up until recently, it was the petrodollar. And it was upheld by force and violence of the U.S. government. All of that is collapsing very rapidly as they issue in the CBDCs, the central bank digital currencies. What we must do immediately is we must compost the fiat. Fiat is shit. It's decomposing rapidly. So let's immediately take the money out of BlackRock and let's put that money into real tangibles, assets that are valuable, like that 3D printed steel frame house over there. Or this banana tree. One banana can have multiple pups Okay, there's some bananas, and there's some baby bananas coming in to produce more bananas. Exponential free energy system right here. And right there and there and there and there. All this. It's all free energy, my friends. So let's compost the fiat. Let's recycle the military industrial complex. And let's take the poisons out and grow food instead of lawns. And we have peace on earth and abundance everywhere. Let's do it. It's up to you.
So there you have it. Figured to share that as a little tidbit talking about, true capitalism. And of course, we're going to be integrating perhaps crypto and other things into this too. I'm always open to suggestions. I'll talk about that briefly. But our target market, individuals who are looking to be prepared, be self-sustainable, who care about freedom, college youth age who want to be in a social atmosphere, free from alcohol and drug usage, health coaches and practitioners who want to utilize the space, businesses, entrepreneurs, content creators who want to network and sell products and produce, consumers who want to buy plants or products or engage in our events, and individuals looking for a vacation or a retreat. So that's a lot of different target markets to cover. And because they're all integrative, I think they work really complementary to each other. Now, my personal little critique, because obviously I have ideas going into this, and I'm open to you guys' ideas, is having a more natural-esque feel. These are just some ancient Chinese paintings and different Chinese art, and I think it would be very unique to utilize this type of design because not many places, I mean, not really anywhere, utilizes this, especially in America. And it would introduce a more nature balanced perspective just through the art alone. Okay. Art can do a great deal. There's a reason why feng shui exists and how it affects people's mood. And so, creating the sacred space for people with the food and everything on it, I want to perhaps utilize some of these design ideas. And these are just some art that I like around that. So, and again, I wrote a book about Taoism. There's also a popular abolitionist book from the 1800s talking about the octagon house, and it became a super big trend back then. It didn't last very long, because the guy the guy was attacked by a lot of people. He was an abolitionist. He was fighting the system in many ways, but it definitely was a trend, short-lived. And you can see that even the Bagua, which is a Chinese symbol, is even shaped as an octagon. And I really want to just integrate a lot of these aspects. You can see Camellia Hill is a place in Jeju Island off the coast of South Korea. This is one of the places that does inspire me when it comes to design as well. Now, again, our designers, Cameron and the team, can help design around our goals and what we'd like. But a lot of people visit this island purely just to enjoy the environment. This is a tourist trap. And it's beautiful. They actually grow the tea that they use in their tea house with the stuff that's here. And South Korea has a lot of beaches, very similar to here. And just you can look at how they're designing this, and I find it quite amazing. So I want to use this as a little bit of inspiration in regards to design. I do like to have a sense of a brand, so it can bring more people in, and it can be replicable and unique. So these are just some different pictures from Camellia Hill. And again, camellia is the green tea plant, which there's over like 700 different species of that. You can use the seeds. They use it as the main cooking oil in Asia. A lot of us Americans don't know that. And it's in a lot of beauty care products, pretty much all of them. Green tea is known to help people with weight loss and cancer, a bunch of things that people are suffering with. So there's even the Book of Tea, which critiques Western art and saying how Western art is very modern. It's very sterile. It lacks a lot of the art and the sophistry that you see in the East, where you have so much more detail put into things. Now, if you look at our founding fathers and even back then, I mean, you look at their art, it's amazing compared to what we have now. So this is just something I wanted to integrate. And I even asked the 3D printers from Casanova Design Group, and they said, hey, if you want a Chinese temple, we can have that 3D printed. So it's all there. We can have it all set up the way we'd like in this project. Now, local strategic partnerships, here are just some, right? We got Ethereal Gym. There's Tony there. I can see him in the middle of the picture there. We got the Food Policy Advisory Council. We're one of the only counties in the whole state in Florida, Pasco County, that has this, and they look for local food projects like this. There's Newport Richey FarmNet, which is meant to network different farmers together. Florida Urban Forestry Council fully volunteer based. Same thing with the Keystone Civic Association, fully volunteer based. They're actually trying to protect farmers right now against all the developers coming in. So it's really nice to see these volunteer organizations trying to put their heart and soul into trying to protect the farmland. So we can definitely connect with them. Moonberry, again, helping us with the tea project. All her clients, word of mouth. Okay. Amazing. So very loyal fan base, and they are totally on board. We've done all our events in Tarpon at Moonberry. So she'll definitely work with us. Again, everybody, Chamber of Commerce, online groups, Freedom Cells, all of it will be integrated here. The Florida Prepping Hub we have on Telegram, which is the bartering hub connected to Florida United, which I run for events. So what is the core team? So far, this is the core team members as far as I see it. My family, which is the Engelot family, myself, my dad, my mom, Rachel, who's part of our family as well, like more extended cousins. Uh, she's part of this, okay? And Anthony, her boyfriend, getting involved with this. She actually has her real estate license. She was trying to help me find land in this whole process, and she's my age. So I want her to share her ideas about design and all that. Tony, definitely consider him a core part of this project because of his ideas. Thomas as well. I've did a video with him before on my channel introducing him. He's local in the area. He does this stuff. He's interested. The staff at Ethereal Gym, we mentioned the Freedom people. These are people who are going to help us on the legal end, setting up a trust, setting up those systems so that way we can have the land secured in our name. I don't know a whole lot about that, which is why I'm going to be talking with them. They're the same exact people that helped Jim Gale. Bing XU, okay, he is with Casanova Design Group, and he also works with New Energy World. These are the same people that also helped Jim, and they do the 3D printing. Food Forest Abundance, of course, and Unitree. Unitree is something that Matthew Britt, part of that team, is working with, and they have a huge, awesome crypto type of model that secures your assets, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But Jessica from Moonberry, and then anybody else, Carmen from the American State Nationals, the assemblies, local. She can use this spot as well. I would love it. And I know she wants to get involved. A lot of my neighbors, I know they want to get involved too. And Alana, who's part of some of these families that have been here for hundreds of years. She even has land up north. She was thinking we can perhaps do a partnership with the land she has up north, and she is a genius. She knows a lot about a lot of this stuff. And she's helped make a lot of connections for me in the area as well. So thank you, Alana and Gunther. These are two people who I've just networked with. And so, yeah, what about you? Anybody who's listening to this, your level of involvement, it's up in the air what you want to do here. Of course, this is now where we get into the land that we found. Okay, so if you're not from Florida, I know this might not be as relevant to you, but this is very important that we go over this land we found, 5 acres in Newport Richey. Okay, this is what it looks like. I'm going to give you several different perspectives, different angles. Okay, so we find this to be very high potential. Tony and I were there just, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? And I even talked to some of the neighbors. They seem pretty cool. But here's different angles. Okay, and you can see there's already buildings on there. So basically, this lady has been here since 1960. She's lived here for about 55 years. And she's really nice. There's a sentimental tree I'll keep. We don't want to destroy the environment. It's a cedar tree. So that would be cool. Now, she said she's going to accept any offer that comes to her because she wants to move to her daughter, which is across the state. So we need to act kind of fast. Is this the land that we're going to be using? It's probably our best option, the cheapest price with the most land. And when I say cheap, for any of you guys who are not in the state, you're not going to think it's cheap. Land goes for millions of dollars around here. It is not, like just in the tens of thousands. No. This is pretty crazy in this area because again, this is booming and things are just going up and up and up. So this is our opportunity now. If we found a nice piece of land that's cheap and there's so much potential, there's already a pond source on there, and it's self-sustaining pond. There's even horses behind us. These pictures don't really do justice because they're kind of cut off. You can see my box goes toward the edge. I didn't take these pictures, so don't blame me. Uh, here are
But
different
that is a
pictures.
spring-fed pond there, so that is coming natural out of the ground. So that's going to
Yeah,
always be there, and we can dig that out and make it and improve upon it, using it more also for aquaponics, as well as the rest of the farming and keeping water in the on the land itself. Beautiful option there.
yeah. Tony, I know you mentioned like also having the parking around the perimeter and stuff like that. I
Yep.
mean, if you want it, you can get into that. But
No, yeah, we definitely have plenty of space in here. As you can see from the top view here, the back bottom right corner used to be somewhat of a looked like a corral of sorts they have, but there's plenty of parking all along the edge to invite the community in. It looks like I think there's at least 3 concrete slabs already down on the ground. So I mean, there's plenty of stuff to that can be worked with on there, and plenty of clean, level ground. I mean, it's very little work to get it up to what we're trying to do with it, but because it's been taken care of so for, as you said, 55 some odd years. So
yeah,
it's a wonderful piece of property.
she was even already growing food on there. We found
Oh
some
yeah,
trees. It's like amazing. Yeah, and the horses, of course, kind of add to the tourist attraction. Not gonna lie, the fact there's horses, they actually came up and greeted us from the neighboring property, and it was kind of barren over there, so I felt bad. I'm like, when we restore this environment, the horses are gonna love us. Um, but yeah, so these are different pictures, different angles, and of course, like I show any of you guys, it's best maybe if we just go in person. If any of you guys want to take a tour, here's Tony and I. We took some videos on the ground again. Dumb us, we filmed it vertically. My friend Mike would get mad at me.
I mean, honestly, we can do so much with this land. There's even horses in the back with some barren land. We can probably feed them.
There you
For all
go.
we know. I'll show you all of it.
So I kind of walk around it. I feel like I don't know if these videos really do justice here, but
All right.
uh, I just walk around the whole perimeter. And some of these buildings we can work with, we can keep them and sort of build with. So yeah, all this is here. It's very nice. It's not too far from the road, but not too close. It's
Neighbor over there.
I think it's pretty perfect in our view. Here's Tony's video.
Back over to the Fed Spring. Part of the package there.
So it goes all the way back there.
It's not too secluded either.
No,
You have
thing people are looking for.
and there's definitely live fish beds hanging out in the pond too. So the water's obviously fresh and clean.
Yeah. Yeah, so there you have it. Best perhaps to see it in person, of course, as with anything else. And I want to remind you guys, what if the grid were to fall? What if this? What if that? EMP, supply chain, natural disaster, foreign invasion, civil war, tyranny. I don't know. All these are on the table. Hey, is that Jim?
Yeah, we got Gail in the house. What's up, brother?
Hey.
Look
Yeah,
at you.
there you go. Hey, Jim, look at these different properties we found. So
all
let's see,
right.
I'll try to get it for you. I gotta go back somehow. All right, so look, these are different pictures.
Nice.
There's already a lake source on there. Here's an overview. This is probably the best picture.
That
I didn't take
water
these
is
pictures.
cool.
Look at that.
Oh, look at that. The big pond lake thing and whatever. That's perfect.
Yeah, this lady has been here since the 1960s. It's amazing.
And that's 5 acres.
Yeah.
Wow. It looks like one big like homestead and then
Yeah, she's got a lot of buildings on there.
sweet. My
Yeah.
eyes aren't so good to see the details on a phone. But anyway, that's fantastic, brother.
Yeah. So we can always share more outside of this.
All right.
Passing through. He just did an interview. They're doing a documentary over here. So Corey, he's Love out, it, man.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Jim. And I just want to show you.
All right. So when it comes to business structure, we have to kind of discuss this because this is the only thing that's more so up in the air that we haven't really figured out is, partnership, land trust, irrevocable trust, the 508c1a ministry. That stuff is kind of more open. And that's why we're probably going to work with the Freedom People. This is their website, the Freedom People. I thought that was just an expression at first. I didn't think that was an actual group, but it is. And then Unitree, they have a trifecta law framework using a ministry, a PMA, private member association, and a trust like together, and like creates the maximum amount of freedom. So we're going to be working with these different groups and see what we can come up with. Unitree, they said that they have to do things after you get the trust up and running after you've already gotten the land. Okay. And again, this is Matthew Britt, and he's part of Food Forest Abundance team and the Freedom People. They helped set up what they're doing. Of course, bear in mind, we have Tony's mushroom farm idea, which will provide a lot of the revenue to cover this very quickly. And the 500,000 actually for the 5 acres is the best price that we've ever seen in this entire area. So she is saying
Yeah,
it's a lot of money. I mean, it is. Obviously it
it
is.
is.
But
And that's what's going to take the bulk of the finances. So in the beginning, all these things are not always necessary right away until we do produce revenue with the mushrooms and the other smaller areas that we
right.
can produce revenue. But yes, we're looking for investors. And depending on how many investors, they are going to own the land. If you had 5 investors, yes, that's going to be 1 acre each. So such and such, but we don't want to do too many investors because now, of course, this gets a little more complicated. So
Right.
Cory will be talking to you all individually regarding what we can all contribute so that we can come up with it and we can see if it's totally feasible for this specific land. Like he said, otherwise it's far away. It's not really where we are, and it's kind of tough. This is where it needs to kind of be done. And it's just sad to give up on something just because we all just think it's expensive, because in the long run, it's not, because we're going to, number one, make it back. But that's not the point. It's the point that we need to get this done here. I mean, we could all give up and say, okay, we're going to go further away, but that's not going to help people here, unfortunately. He does work a lot with the Mitchells and the Starkeys. And you know, he's still looking at their sides as well. They haven't been able to really keep an appointment yet. So he's trying
Yeah.
to get that done to
It's hard to rely on other people.
right. So unfortunately, when we're doing this by ourselves and not getting where we thought initially, you know, they have a lot of land and there's land that
Like
could be done
thousands.
on. So yeah, so we're not giving up on that yet. Because then it's a lot less money on all of the investors and a lot more profit eventually. Not that we're all in it, because we're not really in it for that. See, not us. You know, we aren't. But there are people that are going to want to invest and are going to want to see their rate of return, and we understand that, and we appreciate that they're even helping to invest. So Cory will be talking to everybody individually regarding how much anyone thinks that they can contribute to this project, and we will continually try to find something other than this, as well as this, because this is just such a good opportunity because of the land, because of the structures, because it's like go, and it's so much easier to just go because it already has perks, it's already there. But it's not our only option.
A lot of people from out of the state listening into this as well. So
Okay.
that's why maybe some of the comments could be confused.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, and there's questions among these lines that she brings up, right? Like, will the price of land go down? A lot of people are saying it's like an all-time historic high, but like we don't know if it would ever go down. And if, you know, we want to wait because of what's happening in the world. And again, seeing this property in person and then seeing the price, I mean, Tony can speak up about this, what your thoughts are, Tony, but
Well, I
it
was
was
going
the
to say,
best
I
we
can
saw.
speak to the area. Yeah, no, it definitely was the best we saw. We looked at another similar sized land that was.
I looked at like 10, 20 different lists.
Yeah, I've been looking around, and 10 acres is hard to get in the area with anything below $1 million. But I can tell you that the Newport Richey area that this is in is currently being a lot of the wooded areas are being taken down to put up buildings, commercial, residential, like it's starting to boom. So this is not going to go down in this area. This price tag is only going to continue to go up. This price is going to appreciate as people move more and more into these areas. I mean, they're knocking down entire acres of forest all up and down little roads. Anybody that's lived in the area can tell you how many trees are coming down and how many buildings are starting to come up in the area. So I really don't believe that this is going to do anything but appreciate over time.
Yeah, I think so too. And I've met people who like live on preserves and they're like, I refuse to do anything with it because I lived here my whole life and I'm just so mad at all the developers coming in and taking over everything. Like it's a big deal down here. So yeah, we're just being honest and open with you guys, you know, when it comes to all of this, and I hope you guys appreciate that. We could perhaps always do a partnership with a smaller land. I mean, but I tried my best. I sent letters to every farmer in Odessa, and I think we just got to do it ourselves. I can't depend on people who've lived here for hundreds of years, who are refuse to give away their land, who with anything, well, anything like they'll lease it to us, but then they can just take it away at any moment. Do we want that? Or do we actually want to outright own something? And I think that's our best bet. And then maybe if you guys think, 100,000 per person per se, 5 people for this type of buying deal. I'm not a financial person, but one thing I could do maybe is set up a GoFundMe or like Give Send Go on my channel, and then I can pitch in like one block of that. I don't know. That's another idea I have. These are all open. I don't know much about finances. That's the one thing I don't. And Tony doesn't either, which is why Cameron and my mom are kind of like on that team. Okay. And then the Freedom people are going to help us with setting up how we bring that money together, how we turn it into a trust, and then Unitree will help us from there as well. Okay. So there you have it, guys. If you want, Jim Gill said he can do a tour at his place. If you guys never been there and you want to see what it looks like in person, you can go to Galt's Landing together. We can make a little road trip. Also, we can do a road trip at this land spot, and you can meet the person who lives there. You can check out the land. I'd be willing to do that. Okay, so there you have it. That's it for this whole presentation. Any questions can start now, but here are just upcoming events real quick. I'm going to South Carolina on the 21st or the 23rd for an event that Jonathan Wright is doing. Jonathan, thank you for being here on the call too. I look forward to that, and that'll be great. And then on the 19th, okay, which is coming up sooner, there's going to be a public hearing regarding his school. And you can see there's a big chunk of land there for this school. They already have plans for what to do with it, but we need to be there to network, to make some noise because developers are taking over everything. And they're doing backhand deals with the government to take over this land that they're not supposed to take over. And they're doing this for everywhere around here. So we're going to probably go to the Newport Richie public hearing and make an impression, meet some people, and see what's up with this whole project. Okay, so that'll be on the Telegram. Everything will be updated for you guys. So any questions can start now from anybody regarding anything.